Okay, hello everybody. This is Marcus Fairs again from the Virtual Design Festival TV studio, aka our spare bedroom in London. And we're here today with a panel discussion as part of the VDF times Ventura projects takeover. Ventura projects have curated a whole load of content today and assembled also a panel of designers to talk about facing the future. That's the name of the topic, but it's about how can designers, how can creatives prepare themselves and respond to this strange situation that we're all experiencing all around the world. I'm just going to briefly introduce the speakers and get them to say hello and explain who they are. So first of all, we've got Nienke Hoogvliet, whose name I always mispronounce, and she's going to put me right on that. But Nienke, can you just introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Nienke. I'm the owner of Studio Nienke Hoogvliet, based in The Hague in the Netherlands, and we are focusing mainly on new and sustainable materials and changing perspectives.
And thank you, Nienke. And we've got Georg Lendorff, who's a filmmaker. Georg, say hello and introduce yourself, please.
Yes, hello, I'm Georg Lendorff. I'm a visual artist and a video artist working and living in Switzerland.
And you're in your kitchen. I noticed Nienke's curated her backdrop very well with some kind of rug.
I'm also in my kitchen, actually.
You have a
wall hanging in my kitchen.
Ah, okay. And well, let's see what Ryo Tada has got on her as her backdrop. Ryo, do you want to say hello and introduce yourself?
Hi. Hi, I'm Ryo Tada. I'm based in London and also in Tokyo. I am an experienced designer and also practice as an architect and interior designer as well. I'm a founder of Studio Tada, and we're based in London and also Tokyo as well.
But not at the same time, right?
I'm trying to be, hiding.
And as your backdrop, you have nothing at all. It's just a white wall.
White blank, like Japanese architects love white, so.
Very minimalist. And finally, we have Margriet Vollenborg, who is the founder of Ventura Projects and who has who has put this whole panel together today. And Margriet, you have a very interesting backdrop as well, I notice.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's the Cascando acoustic wall. Very happy with that. No, thanks, Marcus, for having us here, having Ventura Projects here. I'm Margriet Vollenborg. I'm the founder and art director of the Ventura Projects and founder of Organization in Design. And I'm now in my studio in the Netherlands in Utrecht. So, yeah.
And before you tell us a little bit about why you've put this whole collaboration together with us and to introduce the topic, Margriet, I think it's worth pointing out that with you, we have now published on Dezeen today the work of about 80 designers, which must be some kind of record, definitely for Virtual Design Festival. And I think for Dezeen in all time, I mean, it really is the largest amount of content we've put on the site in one day ever. And we need to give a big thanks to Lizzie, our editorial reporter, who spent the entire weekend working non-stop over the weekend to put all this content up. But it is really amazing. It really feels like an achievement to be able to promote the work of that many young people all in one go.
Yeah, no, I'm also very happy about it that we could do that, because of course we have many more designers that we should present in Milan, but unfortunately that will not going to happen this year. So, and I'm very happy that 80 of them were enthusiastic about this idea and about doing this. So they all put a lot of work in making it happening. Lizzie, thank you. In fact, the whole Dezeen team, but also the team of organization and design who did everything to make this happen. So, and the reason why we do this, because and that's the Ventura Projects. Let's say the goal, the reason why we exist. We really would like to give the stage to these designers. Some of them are young studios. Some of them are more brands which are already more established. There is academy work, so there is a very nice mixture of what you should see in Milan, in Ventura Centrale and Ventura Future this year. Yeah.
And just tell us a little bit about the content that we've put up on Dezeen today as part of Virtual Design Festival. There's besides this talks, there's 3 virtual exhibitions, right? Do you want to just quickly explain?
Yes,
that?
we have. In fact, we have the let's say the exhibitions of the several different exhibitors, and we have 2 projects, the Human Health project and the Challenging Change project, and that are 2 projects that were produced by the Ventura projects with help from the Dutch consulate in Milan and Ryo Creative Holland in the Netherlands. We are very happy that we could do that. And what we wanted to show there, in fact, one of our members of the panel, Nienke, is at the Channeling Change project. What we wanted to show with, for example, the Channeling Change project is if we go inside a designer's brain, what is happening? How are they thinking? What do they find interesting? And that is also what we want to show the public. So, of course, for everybody, we are very sad that at this moment there is not the traditional way to present, but this gives a good alternative to keep those presentation going on and to help the story to be told.
Great. And do you also want to explain a little bit about this panel discussion and the topic?
Yes.
and why you decided to do this?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we initiated this discussion because there are at this moment many challenges that designers are facing, especially regarding presentation and how to present your work. And what we see is that not always a digital solution like what we have here is the best solution. Of course, it is one of the first solutions we are thinking of. The whole world seems to go digital. But while I was speaking with Nienke, part of the Challenging Change, she was facing some challenges, and I found it very interesting to go further on that. And so that's why I brought this group of 3 together with Nienke of Studio Nienke Hoogvliet, and also a former exhibitor from Ventura, New York. We did a show there. Georg, who was the designer of the award-winning interactive installation Influencer, who was on a show at Ventura Centrale last year with the brand Freitag. And Ryo Tada, she's from Studio Tada, and she was this year Ventura Future exhibitor, and she will present her project Fulu, which is a device that gives a new sense of touch to digital communication. So with these 3 designers, I hope to have very interesting and lively conversation about how to present and what challenges do we have and what solutions could be there. Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm sad that we can't all be having this conversation in Milan with a nice spritz afterwards, but this is what we have and this is where we are. So let's move over to the short presentations that each of the creatives has put together, starting with you, Nienke.
Okay, thank you, Marcus and Margriet. I will share my screen now. And show you an introduction that I made. I am Nienke Hoogvliet of Studio Nienke Hoogvliet, and as a design studio, we are researching how you can use all your senses when you're presenting work digitally. So what we noticed, now you cannot see me, I guess, but we are trying to, with all the projects that we do, we are trying to change perspectives.
Actually, Nienke, can you unshare your screen? That should
do this. Well, I'll just let you hear the next thing, because I think this sound, we all know it. And I think it's very relevant, so I will just let you hear it. If you So this sound, it activates your memory, and I'll stop sharing. I guess it's better.
So I didn't realize that was part of your presentation. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So what I'm trying to show with this short introduction that I made is that your senses are connecting to your memory, and that you need these senses to place, to identify with objects or materials. And since we are a design studio that works mainly on new and sustainable materials, it's very interesting on how can you get these across through digital media when you don't have these senses that people can use to identify with. So you don't have touch, you don't have smell, you don't have taste. Well, taste is not something we use very often. But smell, with all the projects that we do, actually people ask, does it smell? Because we work on seaweed, and the project that is now in the exhibition of Channeling Change is toilet paper. So people are very curious, does it still smell? So this is what I hope to discuss today is, how can we use more senses than just sound and just visuals to present work. And if I can go back to share my screen. These are the bowls made of toilet paper. And they don't smell, for the people that are curious about it. And actually what is really nice that last year when I was in Milan, I was very inspired by the exhibition of Georg. I don't know if I pronounce it right. But the interactive elements really touched me. And then I found this quote of Benjamin Franklin, and it made me realize that when you really want to get a message across, you need to be involved. So after experiencing the exhibition of Freitag in Milan, and also the Google exhibition was also very experience-based, I think, I decided that it's a very important thing for our studio to work on this, involving people to change the perspective. And that's also what we did during the Dutch Design Week last October. We made an interactive installation about herbal dyes, and it was an interactive thing where people could choose their own natural dye with beneficial effects on their health. So people could, is it still working? Yeah. Could first select a white t-shirt that they like, that was thrown away, and then a natural dye of herbs that could be beneficial for their health and that was fitting to their needs. So this was also a project that we would show in Milan right now with the DEM exhibition. So unfortunately that cannot happen. So that's a short introduction about the studio.
Thanks, Nienke. I'm sorry for interrupting you earlier, but what was the sound you played? Because I didn't. Oh,
you didn't get it?
No.
I thought it would be recognizable for everybody. It's the opening of a can.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I thought it's such a familiar sound. You know, we all already start mouth watering when we hear it. But
I was too busy worrying about whether something had gone wrong technically, I think. It threw me. But also at the beginning when you were talking about, you know, designing with all the senses, presumably you were talking about in the normal world, but that must be even more of a challenge now when there is no normal world, where the only way we can communicate is through screens.
Exactly. Yeah, it's, I think, a very big challenge, but I also see a lot of opportunities. But I think the very interesting aspect of this is that when you try to make a material into a digital if you want it to come across as you meant it as a designer, you need to work with artists who are, very skilled in doing camera, doing sound, etc. So I'm the one who designs what the material should feel like, and then I need someone else to make the translation to digital. So yeah, it's something we are still trying to figure out how it can work. It's an interesting process, but also quite challenging, yes.
And so how are you personally finding this lockdown situation then?
Yeah, it has some positive and negative sides, I think. If my whole normal schedule would have happened, I would have been crazy busy, and I would have been abroad a lot. And I really looked forward to that. But now the more, slow things also raise opportunities for the development of, for example, my seaweed yarn that I'm working really hard on at the moment to upscale it, to really get it to the market. So yeah, it's a very mixed feelings, I guess.
Okay, we'll come back to that later. Over to you now, Georg.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, hold on. I have a few images to share as well. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I was really lucky now in hindsight that last year I could show the installation I developed together with Freitag in Ventura, Centrale. And my interest really is working with spaces and working with people in this space. And to really create experiences where actually people have to go and be physically present, opposed to media like film or interactive media and so on, but media, electronic media. And yeah, I wouldn't know how we could do or how we could translate something like we did last year into an online experience. I think it just wouldn't work because I really got people together in this space and made them interact in various ways and surprised them. And as well, the light sculpture that in a way was quite central is something that really only works, I would say, for when you walk into it. And it is, I mean, it's quite interesting as a designer nowadays that of course I have to think of online media as well, and like Instagram, social media, Facebook. And so if it is, for example, Instagrammable, it helps a lot. So it is nowadays something we have to keep in mind, at least to a certain extent, that it looks good as well on images because they're just so hugely important. But still, my interest really lies in bringing people to a place and to offer them something or to do something with them. And another line of work of mine is I work as a visual artist for opera productions. So I'm involved in stage design in large-scale video productions. And as we speak now, I should be working for new productions in Germany. But of course, it can't happen for quite a long time. We just won't be able to have an audience in an auditorium for probably quite a long time because it's not, it's not an essential business in the end of the day. And so a lot of opera, I guess most opera houses now venture into online media, into streaming. They start to put the shows online. And let me switch off here. So I can see me again. And yeah, I find it in a way, I mean, interesting, of course. How can we translate our work we do on stage for online audience? But I find it quite problematic as well, because again, the whole point of an opera or of a theater production is that the audience actually has to go there, has to sit in an auditorium, and has to go through an experience. And watching an opera, often enough, isn't always that fun. I mean, it's not necessarily that enjoyable, but it is an experience. You know, it's like hiking on a mountain. It's not always entertaining. It's not always fun, but it's worthwhile doing. And to sit there, you know, it's a bit stuffy. Sometimes it's a bit boring, and you really have to concentrate on the play. And now bringing that into online, suddenly, well, personally, I can't just watch it. I tried to see, because I thought, oh, now great, I can see all these great productions online. And I realized I find it unbearable, even though I'm a professional. Even for me, it's so hard to watch because it's just not the situation to watch an opera. And then suddenly we are in a medium where there are so many other great things going on. I mean, there's great content, of course, online. And so, I mean, I understand really that we or opera houses now going online, but I find it, questionable. Maybe it's necessary to keep an audience, to keep touch to an audience, but at the same time, we really end up in the wrong medium. That's my feeling. I mean, said that some houses are a bit smarter by not just broadcasting their productions, but maybe doing like more behind the scene clips, and, you know, have more, try to think a bit more in terms of what's a good format for this medium. But generally, yeah, we need an audience, and it's something now with the lockdown, it's something I start to realize more, because it was just normal before to have an audience, a room full of people, and suddenly it's something, yeah, I'm missing.
Oh, but it also sounds like you realized that you actually hate opera, but it sounds like Georg.
No, but you know, no, but that's quite interesting. I mean, I started my career as a filmmaker, doing experimental films and short films, and film is really interesting in that respect, because film for a long time now has like both sides. We have like the physical experience of going to cinema, to sit like in a dark room full of you know, strangers, and you don't know who's next to you, and you're exposed to this experience of watching a movie. And again, you have to go there, you have to pay. There's no easy escape. If you get bored, you're still stuck there, except it gets really bad. And on the other hand, of course, film, I mean, we have television for a long time, we have streaming and so on. And it works very well in both mediums. Film works very well in the cinema, works well online, but not the same films. You know, certain films are unbearable on a TV screen, like the classic European art house movies. I love them, but I could never watch, or whenever I tried to watch one of these movies at home, it just doesn't work. I think there you really need, in a way, the whole environment, the pressure, the peer pressure as well, you experience in the auditorium. But then on the other hand, there are great online or like TV shows, The Wire, Succession, and so on, that I think people wouldn't want to see in a cinema. There's no need for that. It works perfectly well on a TV set. Yeah.
It sounds like what you're saying is that for certain genres, like opera and certain types of film genre, it actually, the content of the performance or the movie is secondary almost to the experience of being in that beautiful opera house or in that dark cinema with those people eating their crisps or kissing or whatever they're doing. Do you think that? Do you think that now that you're in a situation where you can't be in the opera house for a while or the cinema, it's more, sounds like you're more missing the physical environment rather than the content, than the performance?
Yeah, I think it's probably the both, really. And I mean, it's quite interesting because, of course, when you think of retail, for example, there's this big fight now that suddenly, like boutiques, shops, and so on, they're fighting for customers because the customers, they start buying online. And so a lot about is really how can you attract an audience into your shops? And I think now it becomes more and more accepted that it can't just be the products, it has to be something else. And yeah, it's called experience. And yeah, I mean, I enjoy watching art, I enjoy watching media, but I very much enjoy the experience of being together with people. And I'm quite curious now what it means, you know, the lockdown, because it could play both ways in a way. People are now probably more and more watching Netflix and so on. So, so it might be a big boost for streaming media opposed to going out to a theater or to a restaurant on one hand. On the other hand, maybe people long, or the longing might be now become stronger for common experience.
Well, you and Nienke are both being quite nostalgic in your little presentation. So let's move over now to Ryo and see if she's also missing the real world so much. Ryo?
Let's see. Okay, so I want to present my haptic fingernail for augmented reality. So it is connected to the mobile phone, and you can scan the image, for instance, a beach, and you can touch the texture through this fingernail device. So I'll show you my presentation. Okay, so Fulu is a fingernail mounting augmented reality interface. So it makes touch virtually. And Fulu means tangible and ancient Japanese. And it is for bringing touch for everyday digital communication. So with Fulu, you can touch call with your loved ones, even if we're far away in social distance situation, and family members, boyfriend, girlfriend, wherever we are. Also, you can touch your cat back home, or also you can feel the beach and far away, like in Cuba or everywhere. Also, currently museums are closed, but we can touch artifacts through Fulu, even if the Rosetta Stone in British Museum, it is behind the glass screen, even at a normal time, but we can touch it. So Fulu is mobile and easily you can mount on your fingernail, and you can connect it with your smartphone with Bluetooth. And Fulu makes a virtual touch from the fingernail side, and actually fingernail is equally sensitive as a finger pad, so it is a good place to place the device. And also your finger pad side is open, so you can stroll as your normal finger touch as a physical way. So in that sense, Fulu creates augmented touch. You can feel the virtual touch and physical touch simultaneously and also seamlessly. So touch is actually quite fundamental sensory system of ours. So currently digital experience and communications are highly audio-visual focused and neglecting other human sensory systems. But touch is especially the most important sensory system for creating trust and empathy. For example, a baby first creates a connection with their mothers with a simple touch. Also, touch is the first sense to develop in our mother's womb. So I developed 2 demos for my product. You can send and receive touch, and also you can touch and feel in different textures through mobile. So I can show you the demo video where people tried. So you can see 2 kids are sending touch. So one side is Tokyo and another side is London, and they're like touching and playing. I really like this couple that like they are standing and also talking only with touch. And you can also see lots of children and mothers and fathers. They really enjoy sending and receiving touch with their loved ones. So you can see touch is creating a really emotional connection between families. This is another example I made. you can stroll and like scan different image, and it generates a different touch. For instance, holiday beach, also the fur of your cat, also waters and bubbles and water, and also wind between leaves and the tropical beach. So now we cannot travel, but at least we can touch and like feel the different sensations everywhere in the world. So you can scan texture with foam and augmented reality. So currently during the COVID-19 situation, lots of us needed to isolate ourselves from our loved ones. And I see lots of articles from BBC, Daily Mail, people says like they're missing touch and like they really want physical connection, especially elderly people. They cannot see their grandchildren daily, which they do normally, and they really miss touching their loved ones. This is the comment where my friend's grandmother made. She actually cried and she said, now I can touch my granddaughter from the US while she's studying in London. So I think we do really need digitally touch to like create our emotional bonds. So during COVID-19 is difficult situation for everybody, not only for designer, but as a designer, like I'm confronting lots of different things. So the bad thing is obviously lots of exhibition has been canceled, Milan Design Week and also exhibition in Tokyo. And also the nature of this is touch. I haven't mass produced this yet. So it is so hard to make you feel in front of your, like the screen. So that's actually hard. And also internship canceled. Like not only me, lots of people also lose jobs. Like interviews has been suspended. So it is really hard time for designers to like keep our careers currently. The good thing is actually this time, people now really realize the importance of touch. So it is really helping my project that like getting lots of interest. And luckily I had exhibition in Dutch Design Week and Royal College of Art last year. So I shot this video and I can show how other people react like trying my product, which actually really helped. So shooting video and is a really essential way to convey our ideas digitally, I think. And I want to say future came earlier than we thought. That's what I feel, this situation, people working remotely and also like even this digital touch, people said, oh, that's really futuristic product. We really don't need it. It's too speculative. But now people realize we really need it. And also remote work, like now we realize how much carbon emission rating can be decreased with that. And also we can spend lots more time with our families actually. So yeah, I like to take this opportunity to like look for what we can contribute as a designer in the future. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ryo. And until you explained it at the end, when you had in your list of pros the fact that the future came earlier than we thought, I was thinking, is that really a good thing? But I guess you mean for yourself and for your project, do you?
And also, but at the same time, remote work is like everybody thought it would never happen, especially I'm Japanese, and in Japan, everybody said that's actually a dream. Like we're packed in like really like small tube with thousands of people you're probably seeing in YouTube, but now we can do that. It's actually a really good thing in our society, actually.
Explain to me how the Fulu works then. How does it generate the sensation that if you show it a beach picture, how does it know to generate the sensory pattern of a beach? How does it work?
Currently, I assign several different textures. For instance, like I have 4 examples, like beach textures and candles. But in the future, I need to develop the AI to generate the sensation per image. So currently it's more assigned per image, the touch sensation.
So when your friend said that they could touch their grandmother, do you have a generic grandmother pattern in there, or was it a placebo effect? It was actually a beach.
Sorry, so there's a two interaction. First one was for two people touching each other, and the second one is for texture. So it's actually as a program wise, it's same, but I just made it separate because it's a little bit confusing. So the first one is for two people you can touch remotely.
Right. So it picks up the pattern of the touch and then replicates it.
Yeah, more like, yeah, when you touch something and it records the touch and then sends the touch. So it's kind of voice call, but touch call.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So unlike Georg and Nienke, it sounds like you're a bit more optimistic about this lockdown situation. You seem to be enjoying it more, or seeing positives in it than the other two. Is that a fair analysis?
I think, yeah, I'm just taking this opportunity because I cannot change the situation. So yeah, I just trying to show what I can do during this situation. Yes, like we have lots of actual difficulty, but rather than thinking about what is wrong and what we lose or miss, after the COVID-19 is most important thing. So we really want to, want to bounce and create new things. So yeah, way.
And can you, in the future, when you've developed this more, can you imagine that people would, for example, in a situation like this, where we're having a conversation in Zoom, could you use your Fulu fingertip, and could we sort of touch each other, and Nienke could hold up her seaweed rug and we could all experience that? Could it actually help this situation, and how far away in the future is it before that becomes possible?
So actually, my product is the technology itself is already exists. So it's more kind of a lower quality version than which is happening in the laboratory. So all the laboratory devices is really expensive. So I was trying to make this is more consumer friendly that everybody can use. So now if you go to lab, yes, you can do Zoom call from California to US. I saw the TV from, from BBC or something, but it's so massive and it was really scary as well. But yeah, so basically it's just making everything small. So if I can get the funding, it would be next year or 2 years, I can make this, people can touch each other through the screens, literally. And it will be, I think, fun that I can see children's playing things together.
Okay, thank you very much. And before I go back to all of you with my first question, Margaret, maybe you could explain from your position as well, how are you able to manage your business from your situation, Margaret?
There we are.
And also, I saw Giorgio, your husband, was sneaking around the corner just like, so I was actually trying to catch him.
Hey,
Hi.
I find it interesting as well.
That's partly why I thought I'd go to you as a surprise.
Yeah. No, of course. What I hear, what Georg, for example, was saying is that the context is so important. I mean, we see that, for example, at Ventura Centrale, the vaults, the atmosphere which is there, is a big part of the works and the installations which are there. So that context is important, and that's a challenge for us as well. What is the new context we have? And what Nienke was saying is that now a part of the work that you do, you have to give it to somebody else, and they have to present it for you. They have to make a movie, they have to make a film. How is that working? So I understand those questions, and we are facing them as well. But what Ryo is saying, and I think that is the absolute truth now, this is our new reality. And I mean, I'm also still facing it every morning when I wake up. I'm like, oh yeah, what was it? There was something strange today. Oh yeah, Corona. And I mean, that is where we are. This is our new reality, and we have to adapt ourselves. We have to change it. I mean, this is also humankind. We are doing that. I mean, nobody can help that this is the reality. So we have to face it. We have to see how we can move in it. And also we are doing that, or at least trying to do that. Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask all of you now a question. And the question is, okay, we've talked about the difficulties of the current situation in comparison to what we would normally be doing. We've talked, Nienke mentioned about she's doing her work and then presenting the work creates challenges. But for all of you, imagine this lockdown continues for, I don't know, 5 years. How would it change the actual work that you do? Not the way that you present the work, but the actual work. Have you thought about that? And for example, would you still be making rugs out of seaweed, Nienke, if lockdown continues for 5 years? Or would it force you to change your whole working approach?
Well, I think actually I would make even more rugs because I also believe now that we're in lockdown, our house becomes much more important. And I believe in the power of touch. And I think textiles are an amazing way of, it gives you so much. You can touch it so well, or it gives you so much feeling when you touch it. I think it's one of the most important aspects of our interior, we are surrounded by textiles, and I think textiles will become even more important. And when textiles become more important, it's even more important that they are sustainable. So for me, I think it would only increase my my feeling of responsibility to continue with the work I'm doing.
And do you make the rugs yourself at home? Is that a process that can continue, or do you rely on suppliers or workshops somewhere else to do the weaving and things?
Well, the one See Me rug that I made was made by hand by me, partly at home. But for production, of course, you would have to find new ways. And that's why I also believe that we're moving to more producing locally. And for example, that's also why I'm trying to make the seaweed yarn now of 100% Dutch seaweed and do everything within the Netherlands. I think that will be a shift that we will see happening, that it will become more local.
And do you think there's a way that you could collaborate with Ryo? She could maybe make you could give her your samples, and then she would allow people to choose their rug by touch as well as just by looking at it on the screen. Would be
crucial. Yeah, I think it's really important. Of course you can send people samples over the mail, but I'm very excited about Ryo's project because I think it's super essential that you can have some kind of touch digitally. So I would really love to experience it myself one day.
Yes, so there we are. I think we launched a new collaboration here. One of the things that's really struck me about this lockdown situation, as someone from the media, is that for the last 5 years we've been told that augmented reality, virtual reality, immersive technology, gaming environments are going to be the future. So we don't need to leave home anymore. We can just put on a headset or a Google Glass type thing, or disappear into some three-dimensional virtual space, and it's going to be the same. You can watch a fashion show like that. You can design a building or whatever. But funnily enough, none of those technologies have really done much for us right now, and we're stuck with kind of quite old-fashioned technologies like video conferencing and watching movies and emailing and things like that. Apart from your project, Ryo, that's the kind of the only thing that I've seen in the last few weeks. It's like, oh, that could be really useful. But first to you, Georg, same question really. If this lockdown situation continues for years maybe, how will that force you to change the work that you do, bearing in mind that you hate opera?
I work in opera. By the way, I really like Future came earlier than we thought. And no, I think it's really great to say that and to realize that, even though it's painful to a certain extent. And I think it's important to understand, or I hope that we, not only as designers, but in a way as human beings, will understand that we can't just go back to as it was before, even when the lockdown is over, when the virus is under control. I think there's so many other issues behind it, like environmental issues and climate change and so on. I think in a way we should, or ideally we can use this situation now as well as a way forward and to reflect on certain things we do as a society. But personally, I mean, one thing because I'm still really in the process of trying to find or to deal with this situation. And one thing that surprised me and I started to realize is that suddenly spaces are available. Because like in a city like Zurich, it's extremely hard to get hold of a space to do something. And in my line of work, spaces are important. And suddenly there's so many empty spaces, all the clubs, all the whatever, restaurants, theaters. And so that's something I want to look into. And I find quite interesting that suddenly something that was so hard to get by is now available. But of course, the audience. And I think it's maybe a question of scale as well, you know, to scale it down, to do things for very small audiences. To do, yeah, just to have a few people interacting, why not? And then, I mean, the other thing, I try to think of positive examples or examples where the shift from the physical into the virtual could work. And I find, of course, computer gaming is quite interesting. I think for young people anyway, they're much more, I think they're much more easier in adapting to new media or to new ways of interacting and playing. And I find sports quite interesting because sports, I mean, most of sport is actually being consumed at home anyway, you know, sitting on the sofa, watching Roger Federer playing tennis. And I think now there's actually a shift towards, for example, esports, where you don't even need the actual athletes on the field. You can actually have people gaming from home and other people watching it. And I think it is actually joyful. And it is as well some sort of interaction between people through the medium of internet.
So more sofa sports.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Now, I was surprised when I think back of my youth. I think there would have been no way to lock in teenagers in my days. And I think now, yeah, in a way that they have different channels to communicate and to interact. It is different. And not necessarily bad. I think it's just something, yeah, we have to face and deal with.
Same question to you, Ryo. I guess for you that the answer is obvious. You just carry on making your Fulu product and sell it to Samsung or something like that, and then retire. But no, seriously, if this lockdown continues, how will that affect your work?
So I think as an actually architect, I used to really trust. And also, yeah, as you said, like I thought virtual reality is kind of dystopian situation, like people stuck in the sofa and stay there and don't do anything. But it's like as I stroll the more virtual opportunity, I can see the future would be between the space. So I would say I think future would be you can choose where you want, like you can stroll between virtual place and physical place, and like you don't even feel the boundary. I think that would be the future. So I think this coronavirus situation like made us stuck in the virtual world, and that's like now we kind of really need. But after we have more choice, like you can also be physical, but also it's your choice to be virtual. So I think I would say like it's more kind of mixture, and choice is what I'm really interested in. And that's the reason I chose not virtual reality, more augmented reality, because I don't see the actually boundary between the virtual and physical as an experience. So I run myself now experience designer, and I love building. I design lots of buildings, but I think I'm more interested in creating experience. So I think I would focus on that point. So whether it's lockdown continues or if it's finished now, yeah, I would stroll and try to find new experience people can feel and contribute to the society.
And do you think you'll ever be able to replicate the sense of smell?
So that was actually also like, because five sensory is kind of the future, I think. But yeah, I faced the difficulty of taste and smell, because both, it was so hard to even like analyze what is happening now in our sensory system. So even if we cannot analyze what's happening now, it's also hard to manipulate. So yeah, I would say like, I think it would not be in our generation.
Okay, a long wait for that one then.
Yeah.
And finally, to you, Marguerite, I mean, if this lockdown continues, what does that mean for you and Ventura projects? I mean, would you consider taking it into the virtual realm, or would you go and do something else?
Yeah, for me, Ventura projects is about giving a stage and about giving opportunities. So I think, of course, what we did until now, and maybe what we will do in the future, we will do that. We will keep on doing that. So it will have other forms for sure. And for us, it is also very important that we hear what the designers are saying. What are the needs of the companies, of the design companies, and of the brands, and that is something we would like to help them with. So giving them, for example, an audience, what we are doing in Milan, giving them opportunities for going on with our products, realizing from prototypes, realizing it in work. So we will have new questions now, and we will face them, and we will see if we can help them with that. Yeah.
And we're nearly out of time, so I'm just going to ask everyone just one more quick question, and I'm going to give my answer to that question as well. Okay, so what is the thing you're most missing about the real world in lockdown? So when we're free again, or when, imagine things go back to normal, what is the first thing you're going to go and do? And for me, I've been craving ramen. There's a great ramen restaurant near the Dezeen office, and I'm going to go there and I'm going to have a ramen. So what about you, Nienke? What's the thing that as soon as you can go back to normal, what would be the first thing you want to do?
I think hugging my friends and my family. Yeah, it's a bit cliche, but I think it's true.
Well, maybe you'll be able to do that with Ryo's thing anyway before then, but you're doing a real hug, right? Not a virtual hug. Cool. Georg?
Yeah, I think in my case, it's going to be rock concerts. It's really something, being in a crowd, in a dance crowd, freaking out. I think it's something I miss. I need it occasionally.
Ryo?
I want to go to pub and go to karaoke, but actually ramen, like in Japan, several restaurants is open, so I had it yesterday.
Yeah. Okay, and Marguerite?
I'm with Georg. Probably I will go with Georg and with Giorgio to a rock concert. But really the interaction with people, the real interaction. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, maybe we can make a date then. We can have ramen first, and then we can go to a rock concert and hug all of our friends and family, and then we'll all be happy. And maybe we should make a date for that in the near future.
And we finish it with karaoke.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you all very, very much. We're out of time. Margaret, special thanks to you for making this whole thing happen. And good luck to all of you. And to our audience, you can check out all of their amazing work on the VDF times Ventura projects, part of the Dezeen website.
Thanks a lot.
See you
Thank you
soon.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.